Welcome back, folks, out in the computer land, on the internet, all across the globe, we hope. I don't know how we're all across the globe, but through much of North America, and some of the comments I'm getting back now. It's John Pettipas. We had a little break with Veterans Day, Remembrance Day, and why we should never complain. I'm very proud of that video, and it's a least we can do to honor our veterans. So tonight we have a new subject. It's been recorded at 6:15 in the evening on Friday night, the 15th of November 2019. If a wet and wild look, because we've wet and wild weather up here in Nova Scotia this evening, and just out of the shower besides. So taking wet and wild look tonight. That's fine. If you haven't tuned a look at me, hopefully pick up a few things that we share. We love doing these. Okay. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Josh, a very loyal viewer, subscriber, and I understand has seen every one of my videos to date. I remember speaking in his class in grade 9 or 10, and I asked, who in this class has read newspaper today? Hand up, Josh. 3 or 4 years later, I was back in grade 12. Who in this class, when they graduate, intend to stay in Nova Scotia? Hand up. So anyway, Josh Bennett, from a wonderful family, wonderful people, period. Thank you for your loyal viewership. I want to talk tonight about the internet. And I actually didn't even realize this till the internet first came on the air, came on the computer system, what you call these computer internet things, came in existence at 10:30 p.m. on October 29th, 1969. So that's 50 years ago as of 2 weeks ago in a couple of days. And it was originally done by Stanford University in Southern California, exchange information and stuff, data with other universities. They sent I guess you'd call it a communication. It's you call it a text, email, whatever it's email then, but communications. They sent a communications from Stanford University in California up to San Francisco, and it was log on, L-O-G. Didn't even get the on, you just get L-O, and guess what happened? The computer crashed. Punk! It crashed. They obviously didn't have the bandwidth they have now in capacity, but they tried, and they kept on going. So eventually they get the L-O and a G to go with it. Log, then they get the little dash on. So that is how the internet started. And the internet, contrary to popular belief, is not the World Wide Web, or the World Wide Web is not the internet. The World Wide Web sits on the internet system. And here we are, see this globe of the world, wonderful globe of the world, North America, the richest, most prosperous, innovative continent in the whole world, South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, Indian subcontinent, Australia, only country in the world that's actually a country in a continent too. They've taken, so the World Wide Web, we've all these, it's something like if you've seen it in an atlas or a international flight path. You'll say international flight path here in Nova Scotia goes over Europe, and you can see how many planes go over in a clear, cold night in a winter or bright summer day. You'll see, look up, and you can see a shiny plane, cloudless day, heading from New York, Toronto, Montreal, Halifax to London to Europe, whatever. Okay, so so if you look at a map of the world, there's all these cables connected in the world. So again, the World Wide Web sits on the internet. Just like the railroad, the train is not the railroad. The train sits on the railroad. Remember, love the railroad? The railroad built this country. And in fact, the railroad built this country, and it's still an integral part of moving bulk commodities, keeping the economy cooking with gas. By the way, the Dow Jones, did you know that just as about 50 minutes ago, that Dow, under the strong leadership of my hero, President Donald J. Trump, just broke 28,004, close it to an all-time record high. Thank you, Mr. President, your strong leadership for letting the American people and the capitalist system work. We salute you. Great man. Great country, great day for the stock market. Now, a new all-time high. So again, just like the train, but I digress, as I sometimes good at doing. They take in, the train goes on the railroad, and the trolley or the high railer or the passenger trains in areas where there's enough people to justify passengers. Speaking of cables around the world, did you know? I'm going to get my trusty little light out here. I point up my sword too. The coast of Nova Scotia and beautiful Guysborough County, they had a company called Commercial Cable, and it operated in Canada from the early 1900s well up into World War II. Commercial Cable, and it had a lot of people working in Hazel Hill. The beautiful community of Hazel Hill, next to the lovely community of Canso, in Guysborough County, Nova Scotia, Atlantic Canada, the east coast of North America. And interestingly, when the Titanic went down, or hit the iceberg before it went down, the first signal that went out from the Titanic was picked up at Commercial Cable in Hazel Hill near Canso, Guysborough County, Nova Scotia, and that went out to the whole world. As well, you may have transferred money sometime, use Western Union. Western Union Company, which is still in existence, the Western Union Company had a cable that went out at Little Dover, the lovely community of Little Dover and the eastern shore of Nova Scotia, actually the what do we call it? It's the east end of Guysborough County and the east coast of Atlantic Canada. So again, you had Commercial Cable at Hazel Hill near Canso, and you had Western Union Cable at Little Dover, Guysborough County, Nova Scotia, also in the vicinity of Canso. So two significant things. We have up by Halifax now, Halifax, the capital of Nova Scotia. At Herring Cove, there was a big cable, fiber optic cable in that case, fiber optic cable put in, and that goes across the Atlantic. And interestingly, I know the former president Newtel, the Newfoundland Telephone Company, and years ago, when he first started at Newtel, when Vince started Newtel back in the late 40s, early 50s, they'd phone up Mrs. Lundrigan, Mrs. Fitzpatrick, whoever. The phone is free now to phone your sister in Boston or Toronto or the mainland, wherever. And they had 2 lines out of Newfoundland for long distance communications on telephone calls. So they were booked, something like, I don't know, a specialist at the hospital or something like that for a special procedure operation. Anyhow, nowadays you have fiber optic and all the information is put in little bits and little capsules, mini pills, capsules, bling, bing, bing, and it goes through the system. At the other end is all reconstructed. That is the basis of the internet. And they had a wonderful piece the other evening on a real, very interesting piece on Vint, V-I-N-T, CERT, C-E-R-T, Vint CERT. And he is the co-founder of the internet. He was the guy down there, the communications guy, engineer, that put together the system that is now the internet. Okay, so that's quite interesting. They take and he was interviewed. He actually works for a company called Google, which is the parent Alphabet Google, the parent company of the YouTube system, which I have the privilege and honor of speaking to you fine people on. And he made some very interesting comments. He made some very interesting comments on how the internet has changed people's lives. It's wonderful. It has many, many benefits. But on the other hand, if we sometimes, all of us, I'm not much a computer guy, but we spend too much time. Do I really have to know where the baby was made, who did it, what it's going to be called, and when the baby's due? Do I really have to know that? Every child is precious, and we need more children. But we spend too much time. Do you have to know I had my big bowl of shredded wheat with blueberries and bananas this morning to be big, strong? I mean, you've been heard this 2 or 3 times already. I mean, we lose. It's the information age we're supposed to be in, and we are an information age. Okay, but boy, oh boy, there's times that we spend. God only gave us so many hours a day. We spent all our time following our neighbors or every little thing that goes on. and petty stuff, we miss the big picture. The big picture. There's a whole wide world out there. The big picture. Now, I'll use an example on the internet is used very well. IBM just yesterday, Thursday the 14th, announced their IBM Weather Company. And they get 14 million pieces of data, I misspoke. I mixed my M's and B's. 12 to 14 billion pieces of data come into these several computers, and it spits out a weather report instead of every 6 hours. That's been the protocol before. Every hour. It can be in South America, it can be in the Plains, United States, it can be in Atlantic, Canada. Who is interested in this information? Oil companies, airlines, shipping companies, fishing companies, farmers, you name it, fighting forest fires or agriculture. There's a big market. And so those are some of the customers that this is a real business with lots of practical applications, and it wouldn't have been possible without the internet. So I thank God for internet. If it wasn't for internet tonight, I wouldn't have the privilege of speaking to you. And so basically that's all I have to say. Believe it or not, it's going to be a short one tonight. But take a shorter one from my usual length. I want to thank each and every one of you wonderful people out there in computer land for tuning in. If you'd be so kind as to subscribe, doesn't cost you anything, just press that little subscribe button and you'll be notified when we make new videos. And we thank God for the brain power of Vint Cerf and his co-developer that made the internet, because it's certainly, I'm going to make one more little example. It's certainly, by transferring technology, it's a great way to help people out, develop the economy. I was reading a piece in Business Week yesterday evening or early morning, actually. Paper hadn't come in yet, so I was reading the Business Week. And they're actually doctors now over computers, which ties in the internet, are diagnosing people. You can't make the final decision without seeing a patient, but they can do a diagnosis of people in some ailments and conditions over this computer machine. Again, that's a very good application of internet. So overall, the internet, a wonderful thing, started with these universities, the U.S. military, the U.S. government, and under free enterprise, it has been a great positive thing for the world under capitalism and the free market economy. A wonderful thing. Again, it's John Pettipas closing off, wishing all you wonderful people all the best, and God bless.